actually, because I have a lot of people who are constantly asking me similar sounding questions about some degree of doubt that they seem to have in their mind when it comes to their capabilities or their intentions. There's so many people who doubt themselves or doubt what they're capable of doing. And your mind, at least, needs to be an absolute monarch. Your mind must be an absolute monarchy. I cannot remember the last time I won anything unless I was winning by force. You do not win. There's no easy ride to the end. There's no democratic, smooth sailing, fair election, girl boss, woke, liberal, bullshit versus conservative, we won the vote, crap, to the end goal. You're only ever going to win by force. And force can only be implied by an absolute monarchy. So even if you're living in the West, when you understand you're living in a false democratic system, which has done nothing but lie to you and cheat you of all of your opportunities since the day you were born, your mind must be an absolute monarchy where your commands are instantly obeyed and you instantly comply with your own mind. If your mind says, I'm going to train today, your body must instantly comply with the overlord, the absolute monarch, which is your intention, because it is intention which matters above all things. You know, people talk about motivation all the time, and I'm tired of getting asked this fucking question. Let me explain something to you about motivation. If you felt like doing something and you didn't do it, you were never motivated. And if you didn't feel like doing something and you still did it, then you were motivated. How you feel has absolutely nothing to do with motivation. Motivation can be measured purely by the action in and of itself. Did you take action? Did you do what you were supposed to do? If so, you were motivated enough to do it. Even if you didn't want to do it, even if you hated the idea of doing it and was resentful about the fact you had to do it, that is motivation. The action itself.
Because when you look at words like procrastination, they give big fancy titles for this. What procrastination is essentially is wanting and needing and knowing that you must do something and disobeying yourself. I'm dehydrated, I'm going to drink this water. You know what? Your brain knows you need to do it. I know I need to do it. I'm thinking I need to do it, and I just don't. That's the most ridiculous thing in the world, because if you can't listen to yourself, how do you expect anyone else to ever listen to you? How do you expect to ever be the boss of anyone else when you tell them what to do? They're going to obey you, which is necessary to run a family, to run any small to medium-sized company, to have, I guess, any real level of success in the world. If you can't listen to your own commands, you have no chance of having authority over everybody else, because people can smell it. They can tell a dosser when they see one.
So in a democratic society, if you're unhappy with your ruler, you simply try and vote for somebody else. Of course, assuming democracy is real, which we know it isn't. In a kingdom, in an absolute monarchy, if you're unhappy with your ruler or you're unhappy with the country, you leave. And I think men at home today need to be absolute monarchs over their lives, and anyone who's unhappy with your leadership has every right to leave. And this is actually a fantastic way to measure your capability as a man and your ability to get people to believe in you and your leadership. Let's imagine this. You're an absolute monarch of your life. You say what you want to do. You say how you want it to be. You say how you're going to live. You get it done. If a woman decides to stick by you with your absolute instruction and command, then she believes in your leadership. You have shown and demonstrated enough capability, perspicacity, indefatigability for her to sit at home and think, I want to follow this man wherever he is leading me. If she leaves you because you are not bending or breaking to her will, because it is an absolute monarchy that you own, that she is living within, then you're going to find yourself very, very lonely. So a great way to measure your capability as a man is to wake up and say, this is the life I want to live. This is how I'm going to live it. This is what I'm going to do. And see who's sticking around beside you afterwards. See which women are still there for you when you make it very clear how you intend to live your life. If you say, I want to live with my brother and I want to have the best time ever, and I want to live with my best friends, and we're going to make a whole bunch of money, and we're going to focus on trying to be as strong and powerful and capable as possible, and I'm going to see you when I feel like seeing you, and until then you're going to sit over there. This is the life I'm going to live. If you're a man which is worth dealing with the lack of time that you have to share with her, she's going to wait. And if you're not that man, she's going to leave. So you can live with absolute monarchy and reign as a king, and you're going to find out a lot about your capability, not only from women, but from men too. What men want to stick by you when you say, look, this is how I'm going to live my life. This is what needs to be done. This is the life I'm going to live. That will teach you a lot about yourself in an absolute monarchy. If you're going to have the mentality of a democracy and start sitting around with your girlfriend or your friends and talking about what maybe should you do, you're now spending all your potential energy infighting in a bullshit civil war instead of actually focusing on the tasks at hand. And this is why people fail.
You know, and you promote these ideas all the time, and you talk about the struggles of men all the time, and you talk about how men suffer all the time and how men seem not to matter by society all the time, and you get attacked for it. You get called misogynistic. But the exact same example that you just gave for men is used by women all the time.
That's the only way women live.
Men and women say all the time stupid things like, oh, well, you know, the hotter she is, the crazier she can be. So what is being hot? It's value. The crazier she can be is the more compromise the man has to put up with, right? And people laugh at that. Oh, yeah, the hotter she is, the more crazy she can be. Haha, that's fine. Girl boss, girl boss. That's completely fine. Women rule the world. But when you talk about male value, what men can bring to the table, the more assertive I can be, but the amount of assertiveness I can assert, I guess is the word. But yeah, the higher value I am, the more assertive I can be. People start being like, oh, well, because you think you have money and you bring that to the table, you can tell your woman what to do. Yeah, a little bit. I do. And exactly the same example is used by women all the time, for women all the time. And no one seems to care. Nobody seems to mind. But when you're a man and you say something like that, people attack you. But it is absolutely a fact. And how do you get your value up? By being assertive with yourself. So you're completely right there.
Yeah, completely. So you talk about absolute monarchies. Monarchies are built on the faith in the king himself. Democracies are not based on that. Democracies are actually based on the forever promise of a better future. Democracies are based on the fact that you have an idiot ruling you now, but don't worry, you get to get rid of the idiot and replace him with somebody competent later. And of course, another idiot wins, and you get told, don't worry, at the next chance, you get to get the idiot out and replace them with somebody competent. Let's look at the UK. Keir's come. A king has an obligation to his constituents, which is why you need the mindset of a king for the exact same reason. You now have an obligation to the people who believe in you. You now have an obligation to yourself because it is an absolute monarchy that you are in control of. You can no longer delay it. You can no longer procrastinate. You can no longer live in the promise of a better tomorrow, of a perfect future. There is right now. And you have obligations you must fulfill. And I want to make this very important. By fulfilling your obligations to yourself, you default fulfill your obligations to everybody who believes in you and cares about you and loves you and relies on you. By fulfilling your obligations to yourself, you're not trying to get strong and get rich just to buy dumb shit. You're doing that because you owe it to yourself. You're doing that because it's going to please your ancestors and please God and please the universe. And by extension, you are automatically going to become more valuable to everybody else who believes in you, which strengthens your kingdom, strengthens your absolute authority. And there are some times in life as a man, you need absolute authority to be effective. If this house sets on fire, I need to be able to say to my woman, get up, run. I don't have time for her to say why. I don't have time for her to say, where's the fire? Maybe you can put it out. My friend's boyfriend didn't yell at her like that. Why are you being rude to me? There's no time. I gave a command and I expect to be obeyed because it allows me to save her life and mine. If you do not have absolute authority over the people you are providing and protecting, you are not actually effective as a leader at all.
Yeah, and it's what you have to look at is the price that you pay for procrastination and the price you pay for a lack of assertiveness in your life. So what is the price that you pay for procrastination? In England, this dream of, oh, it's going to get better under this guy. Oh, we can vote him out. Let's get better under this guy. Tony Blair, Gordon Brown, David Cameron, and we just run through this endless series of morons. The price you pay is a wasted life. Because if you've been living in England thinking things are going to get better because you vote, I gave this example about Brexit, about a friend I knew who worked in a gas station, who's probably still working in the gas station today. If you've been slaving your life away, hoping that if you vote for the right person, your life is going to get better, you could be my age. You have wasted your life. And it's exactly the same if you sit around, maybe I'll go to the gym, maybe I'll start this, maybe I'll start this project, maybe I'll start this business, maybe I'll talk to that girl I like. You're going to end up 45, fat, chronically ill, too injured to even save yourself with training and to get back into shape, lonely, no kids, no money, broke, and the type of person that people don't want to deal with, which is another circumstance that keeps you broke. So the price you pay for this is not as simple as a bad year or a bad 2 years. It is literally a wasted life, because we only get one spin at this. And if you throw it away, you've thrown everything away.
There's nothing more beautiful than absolute accountability as a man. It's truthfully the most beautiful thing a man can experience and implement inside of his mind. Absolute accountability for all things, both the good and the bad, to blame absolutely everything on themselves. I promise you, if you stop making excuses, you stop waiting and praying for some kind of better future, and you wake up every day and say, all of the good in my life is my fault, and all of the bad in my life is my fault, and I'm the only one who can fix this. It's never going to get better by itself. It's never going to be fixed by anyone else. It's never going to be easy. I have to win by force. I must force myself and my mind to brutally perform. There is a degree of comfort that comes when you understand that the power is within your own hands. And this is the life you want to live. I like monarchies because I like that there is a ruler, and all the good and all the bad that happens is one person's fault. In your life, that should be you. In the country you live in, it should be somebody you have faith in. And that's truthfully amazing. Let's apply that to mentality. You're not going to argue with yourself about what mentality you should have or how you should implement a mindset to be most combatively effective and what's going to make things work the best if you're already working the best. You're not going to doubt your mind if you're already massively successful in all realms. The reason none of my enemies can convince me the way I think is wrong is because I outperform them. How can you tell me that my mindset is wrong and the way I think and act is not the correct way to be a man if I ruthlessly outperform everybody at everything? I'm better under stress. I'm more successful. I'm more well-known. Why would I want the mentality of these little trolls who nobody even knows who they are? They're insignificant nobodies. Why would I want to adopt the thinking of sad losers when I can be a competent, capable, and happy winner? And this is extremely important. I keep applying it back to politics, but let's keep it on the mindset here. If you start to succeed in the way you need to succeed, you will no longer doubt your thinking patterns. Why would you go to a therapist? Why would you go to some idiot and beg them to change the way you think and feel if it was leading you to where you wanted to go? If the way you thought and the way you felt, even if it was negative and sad, even if it wasn't a positive feeling, was giving you the results that you wanted, you would still want to retain that mindset. This is extremely important. Isn't it beautiful for a man to turn up, try his absolute best, or otherwise, attempt to try his best, and be completely responsible for the results, to get the benefits of a positive result and all of the negatives of a less than perfect result? There is nothing better as a man than to turn up and get a fair shot. That's exactly what you should want. You should want as a man to be judged for who you are and what you're capable of, with no sugarcoating, no positive spin because you know somebody. You want to just say, here's who I am. This is what I can do. Give me a fair chance. You want a fair chance in court. You want a fair chance in life. And you want to be the kind of man who says, if I have a fair chance, I'm going to win because I believe I can work harder than everybody else.